What is good, you guys? If you guys don't know me, my name's Isaac and I post a new video here on my channel every single day, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button. Today, as you can tell by the title of my video, I'm talking about why wrestling is harder than football. Alright, this is a real controversial topic. I have a real hard stance on this. I wrestled with a lot of really good football players, and in high school they agreed with me. I'm not saying when they went on to college they kept the same opinion. I don't really know. These are the reasons that I've made up. These are just a couple of them. These aren't even all of them. So to start off, reason number one, in football games, they look very similar to one another. So depending on whether you're offense or defense or you're a quarterback or depending on what it is, all of the scenarios that you run into are very similar. You know what I mean? And your game plan is picked out beforehand, right? So before it's even go time, you know what's gonna happen. You know what you're about. You know exactly the route you're gonna run, the zone you're gonna cover, the person you're gonna block. You already have an idea of exactly what you're gonna do in your head, and you've practiced this a bunch of times, so you're prepared for it. Whereas in wrestling, we don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? We don't have the luxury of knowing what is about to happen, what we're about to do, or how this person's gonna react, because there's a million different ways to react to a million different attacks. Let's say he goes for a low single, I pull one foot away and he grabs the other one, and then I hop over him, I grab his ankle, and then we're in a scramble and we're just scrambling and we don't know what to do. He's getting his foot free, I'm getting my foot free, we're working. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's just mayhem, and there's no way to practice for it. Alright, and for that reason, I think wrestling is much more difficult than football. You can get so creative with wrestling, and football lacks that creativity. Football really lacks that ability to make it your own and do your own thing, you know what I mean? Whereas in wrestling, you have to get creative and you have to get in the moment and you have to react, act, adapt, all really, really fast. And you're dealing with less than a second sometimes for you to notice something and react to it. While you're working the whole 6 minutes of a wrestling match, there are certain points within that where you explode and where you release immense amounts of energy to progress forward. You know what I mean? I'm not saying football isn't difficult. I'm not saying that that there isn't a lot of competition and that it's not a good sport. I really enjoy football. I never played it organized, but I played a lot of football and I watched football as a kid. Reason number two, I think our football team had in high school had 60 people on it, 70 people on it, and there's only 14 people on the field. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of standing around. There's a lot of time to take a break. There's a lot of second and third string guys on the field, you know what I mean, in case someone gets injured. Football does have a lot higher injury rate, which I also don't like. That's a different point. So in football, there's a lot of standing around. There's a lot of just relaxing. You're not doing anything. You're watching other people do work. Whereas in wrestling, as soon as you get on the mat, it is work, chop, chop, chop. Things are getting done. We're trying to move on to the next match. You know what I mean? You had 6 minutes and that's it. You have to make something happen. You have to do something with this time. You know what I mean? In football, you have the luxury of going in the middle of a game and getting something to drink. In wrestling, we probably won't even get to drink even after the game. After we wrestle, we'll have to watch what we drink. So just in that aspect, wrestling is way harder. I think wrestling is way harder. You don't get to stand around. It is work. The whole time that you're wrestling. You don't get a break. You don't get to reset. And number three is, in football, if you get injured with so much as a stub toe, right? I'm being a little over exaggerating, but they're gonna carry you off the field and you're gonna look like a hero. You know what I mean? If you get injured playing football and you have to get carried off the field, then you look like a hero. You know what I mean? If you break your nose, if you break a finger or something, you get a big cut on your forehead, they're gonna carry you off the field and you're gonna look like a hero in front of your school or in front of whoever. No one wants anyone to get hurt. In wrestling, it is very common practice where if you don't like losing and you want to win, then a broken nose, a bleeding forehead, bleeding fingers, bleeding toe, or broken toes, you know what I mean, torn muscles, won't stop you from finishing a match, right? I'm not saying that this is the smartest thing. I have done this personally, you know what I mean? I have been bleeding. I have gotten into car accidents and still wrestled tournaments, and one time I wrestled a tournament and I had just gotten my dirt bike and I was trying to load it into the back of my truck, and I slipped off the ramp because I was riding it up, and I whiskey throttled into my dad's truck. And on my leg, like I crashed, and this whole part of my leg was like a balloon filled with liquid. And I'm telling you, if it was touched, if it was like touched, like just touched, I would lose my breath. I would start gasping. I would it was so painful, I was like, like so painful. But we had a tournament the next weekend. It was a dual tournament, and we wanted to win. And like an idiot, I wrestled anyway. I won only one match, but that match counted. So like in my mind, it was worth it. Like I wrestled injured, but I went 1-7. But like that one match was an important match. Like that won us that dual meet. So like the mentality in football and wrestling is very different when it comes to injuries, because like in wrestling, an injury is a loss, and in football, an injury is like a break. Like if you get injured, it sucks, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna let other people work right now. In wrestling, it's like, damn, I'm really not trying to take this out. I'm really not trying to take this out right now. Now, number 5, in football, you have other people there to pick up your slack. You know what I mean? You have other people there to pick up what you don't, because everybody wants to win. You guys are collectively like trying to win, trying to accomplish a goal. There's multiple wide receivers, there's a running back, there's a bunch of different people. So if you don't go your absolute hardest, there's a good chance that nothing bad will happen. There's a good chance that there won't be any negative outcome from you slacking off a little bit. Whereas in wrestling, you can't count on other people to be there to pick up on your slack. You can't count on the quarterback to be really good at throwing the ball with pressure, so that like if you let someone slip by, then like he's not gonna get sacked. Or like if you decide not to run as fast as the other wide receivers, the quarterback's just gonna pick someone else. The consequences for not going your absolute hardest are a lot more manageable. They're not as devastating. You know what I mean? Like in wrestling, if you get taken down, that shit sucks. Like that shit really sucks. If you allow someone else to grab your legs and to put your butt to the ground and have them get behind you. And that's exactly what you work not to do. And the last thing, number 6, is in football, there's a lot of positions where you can be born and just like automatically like fit in, be the perfect puzzle piece for this. You know what I mean? If you're real big, you can be like O-line. If you're real fast, then you can be a wide receiver. If you're like, you got that killer instinct, then you can be a linebacker. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain places where you'll fit in better, like depending on how you were born. And sometimes you don't fit in at all. Whereas with wrestling, everybody starts out the same. Everybody pretty much sucks at wrestling, and then they just work and get better. And it's a game about who has worked the hardest. It's a true test of who is more dedicated to what they're doing, who is putting in more effort, like behind the scenes, who is trying to make things happen, and who actually cares. I hope I made a good point. I hope that made sense to you guys, but if it didn't, comment what I left out. If you guys like that video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.